Okay, so we're here. So the first thing, I'm just going to show sort of the two hands. I'm hoping to talk about this one and this one. I kind of briefly looked at it. So one of the things is there's usually a title. So it says fun with ace queen off. Thread table would be better with Jack JK off. I think it was supposed to be JK for just kidding. Anyways, I'm old. Sorry, I didn't get the joke, but hopefully it sounds funny to me. So one of the first things I look at, so what tournament is it? So it's really important information. I need to know what tournament it is. It's a 440 buy-in, rebuy and add-on. So I'm assuming it's a 440 rebuy. I don't know when that is. It's on the Merge network. So the blinds are 400 with a 50 ante. You're at a 9-player table. Doesn't really tell me. I can quickly scan the post. I can tell it doesn't tell me how many are left or anything. So I'm assuming I'm not that deep. I can see right here it tells me the villain he has no reads or stats on the villain. So that's important too. Don't know anything about the villain. The villain has almost 50 big blinds. We have just over 30. And we're in the small blind, which is obviously a terrible spot to be. But there's nothing we can do. That's the position we're in. So it says that the villain is probably MP2, so the villain's in middle position. And the villain opens to 1200, which is 3x, which is kind of tells me something about the villain. His bet sizing is really wacky, so probably not generally that good. And basically, I can see the flop comes 10-Jack-3 with 2 hearts. So right away, I have a gutter, 2 overs probably, and a backdoor heart draw. So right now, I don't have position, which I can tell you right now is going to make this hand very difficult to play. It makes it difficult pre-flop, makes it difficult on the flop. Now, one of the questions is he's asking is pre-flop worse than calling is worse than raising. At the time, it seemed perfectly reasonable because if I 3-bet and he 4-bets, I kind of sort of have to fold, and that's not so wonderful considering my stack size. Or he calls and I'm left playing a bloated plot out of position with ace queen, and the only thing worse than playing ace queen out of position is playing ace queen out of position while resting your nutsack on a hill of fire ants. Don't ask me how I know that. You're right, I don't want to know how you know that. So basically, the problem is, then of course we brick the flop, but do pick up some equity with our overs. May not be good, or gutter in the back door. But check raise seems pretty thin, because I'm in a tough spot if he flats and turn breaks all the time. I'll have to barrel a turn pretty hard. I hope he ditches it. Maybe this is why ace queen is so maligned. And none of the options seem all that awesome. How would you rank them? So, one thing I wanted to say right away is ace queen's a great hand to have, but you're in a difficult spot. It's because you're in the small blind. If you're on the button here, this hand becomes infinitely easier to play. You're kind of right. 3-bet getting it in is kind of not so good. The guy's raising in middle position. You don't have any reads on him. He's also raising at 1200, which indicates that he's probably not bluffing because he's half decent. And then you have like some equity here. So basically, this is kind of what the issue is for me, is that you can choose kind of one of two ways to go about this. If you're willing to kind of get it in or bluff or put a lot of chips in, then you probably should have 3-bet called pre, because that's just probably an easier way to play it. Now that the flop comes, it doesn't really give you any more equity, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't. Now that the flop comes, yes, it does give you more equity, but you're still kind of in the dark as to what the villain has. However, your hand looks much stronger, and there's much more in the pot now because he's put another 1200 or 1625 in. So you have 2825 plus the blinds to steal from him, as opposed to pre-flop, you only have 1200 to steal from him. So it kind of makes it slightly more attractive. But let's deal with each street, or the two streets, first of all. So pre-flop and flop. So pre-flop, I have no issue with the call. I think it's fine. Most people would say 3-bet or fold, mostly 3-bet. There is also jamming, which isn't totally awful, except if you do jam, he's probably going to call you with better. And, you're stealing, like, proportion of your stack. If you steal pre, it's still a good portion of your stack. If you look at it, there's 600 plus the antes, probably 1600 plus his raise, 2800. I mean, you're picking up more than 20% pre-flop if you jam. So there's nothing seriously wrong with jamming pre. 3-betting puts you in kind of an awkward spot, because then he can jam. If he jams his pocket fours, you have to call. You can't fold once you 3-bet. So jamming's not too bad. You didn't mention that as an option, but I would say jamming and calling are probably equal. I wouldn't mind jamming there, because I think he's going to fold a ton, or maybe even call with worse, call with pair. So Jamming's not bad. 60 big blinds is kind of a sexy stack to have at this point. You know, you have 24K, it'd be pretty cool. And so I don't necessarily think jamming's terrible.